Hello everybody, I am ASMR Reality, and tonight I am going to just have a heart-to-heart talk with you about life and the world and what's going on in my life and just a few of my opinions and thoughts on lots of different topics. I just wanted to kind of get this out here. As I was kind of thinking about what I would do for tonight's video, I have a couple of really good ideas from a couple of them from some of you, my subscribers. I'm going to do one on cleaning. I'm excited about that. Somebody mentioned it to me and I thought that's a great idea. Another one I'm going to do is my horse video. Part of the issue is I have to film that during the day, doing my horse chores, and then put together a video and then kind of whisper over it as I kind of narrate it. So that's a bigger project. But just kind of trying to think through, I have really kind of been all over the map with this channel. Some of you who were with me very early on may know that my channel started out as ASMR Religion, and I switched the name maybe 10 videos in to ASMR Reality, primarily because I thought I could just talk about religion in hundreds of videos, but it wasn't the case. Also, as I started talking about religious things, I realized it could be really controversial, and I could alienate a lot of people. So I thought it might be better to just be able to get a bigger audience, to not be so controversial. I kind of transitioned then into just talking about more controversial topics. You know, like I made one video that says, are you a Democrat or a Republican? And I kind of define the definitions as far as like what do Democrats believe that Republicans don't, what are kind of the divisive topics that separate the two parties. And of course that got me a lot of backlash. I've stated opinions on things like biological men being able to compete in women's sports. That got me a lot of hate. Then I just switched over to I've done some true crime. I've done some news topics. I spent like maybe 2-3 weeks doing just like a whisper journal, kind of just thinking, okay, well, I'll just video like my life, like things that are going on in my life and just my thoughts. But again, a lot of my thoughts can be deemed controversial. And so as not to try to alienate people, I tried to like tone it down and just try to stay clear of like more controversial stuff. I try to talk about like some serious topics, but then this is ASMR and it's supposed to be relaxing. So I'm like, well, I don't want to stress people out. And like that happened as well with some of the news topics I covered, because I covered like some like aggressive news topics. It's like a dad that, hurt his kids and things like that. So those kind of didn't go over real well, and I really just am trying to find a niche here. I've talked about like some of my more popular videos that were more like success style topics, like self-help, and I like those. I just struggle with like feeling repetitive. Like when I make them, I'm like, I just hate the thought of like talking about the same thing over and over, and I feel like that's a part of the issue I have with that, but I don't know. So again, I thought tonight, rather than just picking a topic, I was just gonna kind of ramble out some of the things going through my mind as far as the best way I want to proceed with you guys. And chance to be me and say what I really want to say, but some of the things I really want to say, YouTube may not want me to say, and so they can step in, which they have before. About a week ago, I got like some notice that I was my comments were disabled for a day, 24 hours. I could get comments, but I could not comment on anybody else's video, and I didn't do anything. I didn't say anything controversial, so I don't know. It's like somebody might have, used my name to comment on something. I don't know. Things like that happen on the internet, but so yeah, there's just so much that makes it difficult. But I think I'll just kind of stay with variety if you guys are okay with that. I'll do some self-help. I'll do some news things that I find interesting. I'll try to stay clear of like the really bad, horrible news. I know some of you like it, but a lot of people don't. And I can understand why. Again, this is supposed to be relaxing. And really, I want to be informative, like give you value along with relaxation. So, trying to incorporate those two things, it's not the easiest thing to do, but I feel like it is what separates me from a lot of other people doing ASMR. So, I would like to stay with that somehow, but I've also been trying to post every other night. So I just take one night off and post the very next night. And I've been doing it pretty consistently, and I'm comfortable doing it. It doesn't feel overwhelming, but at the same time, that becomes the challenge. Is like when I was posting once or twice a week, it was easy to say, that's what I'm going to do for this video. But every other night, it's a lot more consistent, and it's a lot more information, and that's where I tell you, it's like, how do I post 3 or 4 times a week, week after week after week, and how to come up with relevant information to give you that's both relaxing and informative and helpful. So that's one of my own personal challenges, but I believe I'll figure it out. The world is chaotic at best. Right now we've got a lot of fighting going on, not only with wars, multiple wars going on, but also just division amongst the people. I feel like, as an American, I feel like in all of my 51 years, this is the most divided I've ever felt this country feel to me. Now, I know like during the Vietnam War era, things were really divisive. Obviously, we fought a civil war. These things did not happen in my lifetime. But as far as my lifetime goes, this is the worst it's been as far as internal division amongst the citizens of the United States. There are some people today fighting on college campuses about free Palestine versus people that are defending Israel, and I'm trying to take the Stoics way on this and just not have an opinion. Now, at least not stating my opinion, it's just, sometimes I see these things online or on news articles or on the TV news, and I'm like, what motivates a person to try to be so certain that their belief is right? Part of me not wanting to state an opinion is I don't really, it's not really my fight, I know that Israel's defense is they consider that attack that happened to them, they consider that attack their 9/11, and I remember how I felt on 9/11, being an American and living in a country that was attacked in a horrific way. I also read some of the defense of Palestine, and I see that, I understand that they've got some territorial disputes, and they feel that they've been living under extreme conditions of control from a government that they don't feel should have the authority over them. So I can understand the want to rise up. But the one thing that kind of makes me feel like I do is that I know, I look at like the whole Arab world, and it's big, and then there's a tiny little speck that is Israel. And I'm like, I know the challenge they face. It's like, couldn't we have picked a better place to put them? But it is what it is. We're not going to change that. And so, the other reason I don't really feel comfortable just being passionate about one side or the other is that I just don't, I don't have an answer. It would be one thing to say, well, I feel like what Hamas did was wrong, and Israel has the right to retaliate. But it really doesn't fix anything. It's like after 9/11, yeah, I wanted us to retaliate too, and we did. We bombed Iraq, which was like dumb because Iraq had nothing to do with 9/11. And then when we finally did go into Afghanistan, where the terrorists were that attacked us, where Al-Qaeda was hanging out, what did we do? What did we accomplish? 20 years later, you saw, like, when Biden first became president, what did we do? We left that place, and it was like the most chaotic exit of anything that America has ever done. It was just weird, and I feel like that public display of just chaotic withdrawal and defeat kind of gave the green light for all the things that have happened since, being like Russia, Ukraine, and then Hamas and Israel. All these things have happened since that withdrawal, because I think it was an extreme sign of weakness on America's part. And I feel like, though I do hate that America has served as like the world's police officer, I wish we would stop. I wish we really would. My feeling is that America, though in our beginnings, obviously, we had slaves here. We have done a lot of things wrong, but I think if you look as we progressed, we tried to fix a lot of those wrongs. Obviously, we fought a civil war to get rid of slavery, and, I see that as progress. We then separated ourselves and had white schools and black schools. We got rid of that, and we integrated everybody together. Again, I see that as improvement. So it's like, as we've went along, we've tried to fix the things that we knew were wrong with ourselves. But also, in the midst of all that, there was a great spark of freedom that the Constitution provided mankind. And I believe that was the spark that advanced our technology and our invention. It sparked the Industrial Revolution and the Technological Revolution. We invented the TV, the airplane, radio, telephone, cell phone, microwaves, CD players. All these things came, and I feel like what we did was we advanced the world, and in the process, as we would get these things, we would then share them with the rest of the world. But somehow we became kind of bullies. I think over time there were, say for example, like Afghanistan, these people truly have a religious belief that they don't want their women westernized. They like having, their women in burqas, not showing their faces, jobs and not going to schools, and it's their culture. And they don't want to have our ways shoved upon them. And is it right? Should we try to impose our will on people who really don't want it because we feel like it's best to advance women's rights in these countries? I don't know. My gut tells me it's not. My gut tells me it's not good to intervene. My gut tells me we intervene when somebody asks for our help, like in World War II when Germany and Hitler was taking over and destroying all these countries. People wanted our help. France and Britain and Poland, they wanted our help. And we came to their rescue. And we did help defeat them. That's when we intervene. If somebody calls for help, but not just arbitrarily, not just because we feel we need to. No. There's a school of thought that if we're not doing it, like for example with Iran, if we weren't meddling over there, Iran might have already got a nuclear weapon, and maybe they would have already used it on Israel, or maybe they would be using it on us already. So that's the defense of being the world police, is that we have to protect ourselves, but I don't believe that's the case. I believe we can be on standby so that when somebody calls for help, we can come help. But we should take a defensive posture. That's what I wish we would do. And certainly in today's day and age, because we got a whole lot of work to do here. We are divided, and we have got to find a way to unite. And that to me is our number one problem here. It's like the old saying, don't tell me about the speck in my eye when you've got a plank in your own. And I think that this is what a lot of countries feel about America. They feel like, who are you to tell me? You guys are in disarray as well. Quit bothering us. And I have to agree. So currently, that's my stance on that, is that I think we should just leave everybody alone. Let them fight their own fights for now. And if we need to intervene, we intervene. If we're wanted. But all of this arbitrary intervention, I think, is unnecessary, and I think it's hurting us. I think it's hurting our standing in the world. And I would rather regroup, come back home, focus on ourselves, focus on fixing our own problems, and then say, hey everybody, we've got solutions to these things. Are you open to hearing about them? And if so, uninvited is the worst way to be. It's like going to a party you're not invited to. It's like, do you really want to be there? No. So that's what I think when it comes to that stuff. And most of you know that I respond to every single comment on my videos. But I have got Free Palestine as the comment, and it's the first comment that I haven't responded to. So if you're listening and you're writing Free Palestine and you've wrote it multiple times on multiple videos, just know that I'm not commenting because I just don't want to. I don't want to do it. It's not my fight. It's one of the Stoics said that you don't have to have opinion on everything. And in an effort to just be real with everyone and to have selfishly, yes, I want the biggest audience possible. So I don't want to alienate people. But I would like your opinion if you think I should. If you think I should just take a stand and say, hell with growing my channel and just say whatever I want. And, or should I be more inclusive and just try to not be opinionated? I don't know. What's your thoughts on that? Obviously I try to be as real as possible. Obviously I'm kind of, you can tell by what I'm saying what my be, I wouldn't be hateful anyway. I wouldn't be hateful in any fashion because I just don't hate. Now, like, I don't like terrorists or criminals or people that do horrible things, but that's just basic. 99% of us agree on that, but there's just a lot of radical stuff that goes on, and I'm like, it's just strange. And it's what's really strange is that I can't even say it. It's going to be upset about it, and it's like, I don't know, it's hard to deal with. And I think what's happened is it's kind of one of those things, careful what you wish for, because as I've grown my channel, I have gotten more diverse subscribers. And again, it's like, I don't want to alienate anybody. I want everybody to feel welcome here. But, I think maybe the right answer is just to try to find a more civil way to express my opinion that is respectful. Which leads me into my final topic, is I really want to do another video on religion, because I have kind of moderately, evolved my views since it's been 4 years since I made my first religion video. I made several over the years, but I'd like to do another one for my newer subscribers, just to talk about my feelings on it. But again, I just do not want anybody to get upset with my belief system, and so just let me know your thoughts if you think I should stay away from that topic. There's an old saying, it's like, you should never talk about religion and politics with anyone. If you don't talk about it, how do you fix anything, Because ultimately, my feeling is that it's just like the Israel and Palestine conflict. What's it really over? Really, what ultimately, if you drill it down to its most simple form, what is it about? It's about religion. It's the Jews versus the Muslims. They both believe in a different God. They believe two different things. They believe completely different things. And when you believe different things that differently, like, what happens to you when you die? Who gets to go to heaven and who doesn't? When you disagree on those fundamental things, there's nothing more divisive that there can be, because it goes to the core of who you are as a person. So, it's why I just think that my feeling about our future, if we cannot figure a way through this religious difference, if we cannot find a way to either A, get rid of all of them, or B, unite under one of them, we're doomed. We're doomed to continue all of this madness. It's been going on for as long as I've been alive. It's been going on for thousands of years. I mean, the Israel and Palestine, if I read the Bible, it talks about the Israelis and the Palestinians, right? It talks about, clear back then, they were fighting. So, I just don't know. I don't know what the answer is, other than everybody lays it down, If we could all just live under some humanity umbrella. I don't know, because I can't see, like, a Muslim's never going to become a Jew. A Jew's never going to become a Muslim. A Christian's not going to become either one of them. Hindus are not going to become any of them. The Buddhists are not going to do it. I think the Japanese got it figured out. Look how peaceful they are. Now, obviously, in World War II they were not, but once they got rid of that extreme faction of their citizenry, they've just been peaceful ever since. They're the world's third largest economy, and they're like the this big compared to, China and the United States. It's fascinating. They're so civilized. I think it's why they build like such quality vehicles, because they have such pride in what they do. It's just interesting stuff. The world is just so very complex. We are complex creatures, but I feel like all these people out there marching in the street, they need to get back home, because I look at them, most of them are like teenagers or like 22-year-olds, and that their room's a mess. Their life's in chaos. They're probably late on all their payments, and their whole life is chaotic, and that's why they find these causes that they really don't know anything about. These white kids in New York, they have no clue why they're free Palestine, other than they want to do it because it's controversial and it gives them a reason to not focus on the troubles in their own lives, to focus on something else. I think it's why a lot of the people are focused on climate change as well, because if they have this cause they can get behind, they don't have to fix their own life. And that's why I think the Stoics were so right when they said don't have an opinion on everything, because they knew if you got caught up in these and your energy got caught up in it, you'd lose sight on what's really important and focusing on your own life, because truly, that's how we fix it. We fix ourselves. We can fix the world 1% at a time. Just start looking in the mirror instead of looking at the world. It's just so frustrating. But, again, it's hard because I don't have the answers either. I have ideas. I have thoughts of what I think could help. But how do you implement it? I'm never going to... I was a vegetarian for 12 years, and I couldn't convince anyone to become a vegetarian. I can't convince anyone to become an atheist or just a non-believer either, So, sorry, my heat just kicked on. It's that time of year. I'm going to have to shut the furnace off every time I start to record. I didn't realize it was going to kick on, but it's going to be cold tonight. It's going to be like, for the first time, of course, Fahrenheit, like 22 degrees. So, anyway, I'll go ahead and let the furnace be my cue to go ahead and stop recording, because I know it kind of messes up the audio a little bit, but I do appreciate all of you so much. If you're new here, please subscribe, and if you're not, please give me a thumbs up. Grateful for all of you. Thank you for watching and listening. Good night.